Let's talk about this Florida Panthers team moving forward. On the Canadian broadcast, the first thing Gene Principe asked Sam Reinhart on the ice was, so do you think you have the group to get a third now? And I mean, of course, that's going to be the talk. A lot of these guys, key pieces, guys like Reinhart, Barkov, Kachuk and stuff, they're going to be in Florida for a long time, but there's a really big trio of players, Frank, that don't have contracts for next year. Not just Sam Bennett, but Brad Marchand, who came over at the deadline, Aaron Ekblad, who was the first overall pick over a decade ago for this Panthers team. How many of these guys do you think the Panthers can run back? Like, is it possible to bring back both Bennett and Marchand?
It's amazing watching Bill Zito on the ice, the Panthers' ultra-aggressive GM, after emotionally hoisting the cup and letting out a roar. In an interview just a couple minutes later said, I think we can bring them all back. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. That's kind of like a mama pup with her litter. Like, yeah, we can keep them out. No, you can't. That's not how it works. And it's amazing that he says it, and that the calculator, I guess, if everyone wanted to take less to come back, I guess you could theoretically make it all work. But look, we'll get into our top 50 free agents discussion in a minute, but Nate Schmidt is kind of the poster child for how much everyone has made their value skyrocket here. And great job with this graphic from Pat. But throwing on the UFA to look at this lineup, like Nate Schmidt came on a 1-year deal after being bought out less than 1 calendar year ago by the Winnipeg Jets, signs for $800,000. He's probably in line to get something like a 3-year deal at $3 million, at least 5 points in this final alone. Aaron Ekblad has continued to push up his value. He's going to be very difficult for the Panthers to maintain. Marchand probably priced himself out because you're thinking that they're going to keep Bennett. So there's a lot happening here for the Florida Panthers. They have some cap space, but not an infinite amount. And they're going to have to make some really hard decisions.
Yeah, very, very difficult. I think Aaron Ekblad might be the most difficult of the bunch, if that makes sense, in the perspective of you probably want to have some form of loyalty. He's been there forever, but also like he's a guy, again, he's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. He looked slow to me in that cup final. He didn't look like a guy who I'd go, you know what? Yeah, he can give me a $7 million level for the next 5-6 years.
And he's probably in line to sign a 7 or 8 year deal somewhere, to be honest. So I'm with you. I agree on Ekblad. To me, I think he's the easiest guy to let part ways. Not saying that any of them are easy, but of this group, to me, I think he presents the most risk long-term. And beyond that, not to like quote a crusty NHL GM who likes to say this all the time, but if you want loyalty, get a dog. Like, the loyalty is we've paid you all these years, you've made a ton of money, and you just won 2 Stanley Cups in one of the most beautiful places in the world to live. We love you. Come back anytime, but we're going to shake your hand and move on. That's sort of the philosophy and approach that I'd have, not to oversimplify it or to make it crass, but like, I just think even Brad Marchand at 3 years times $8 million, I think is less risk than signing Aaron Ekblad to 6, 7, or 8 years.
Mm-hmm. We're going to talk more free agency, obviously, in our big segment, but let's quickly touch on the Edmonton Oilers, who now bow out in a second straight Stanley Cup final. And the sentiment as they kind of work their way through the playoffs, at least earlier on in this postseason, it was like, hey, maybe this is like the first Tampa Bay team that won it, or that Washington team that won it, where it's like, you're not your most complete roster, not the best team on paper you've ever thrown forward, but somehow it's just a group that finds a way. And I think this Oilers team definitely got exposed for their flaws more in this Stanley Cup final than maybe they even did last year when they did push it to 7 games. But what did you make of this Oilers team and sort of how things fell apart in these last 2 games?
Well, I view it, and this isn't any excuse making at all, I view it as more what the Florida Panthers did to the Edmonton Oilers than what the Edmonton Oilers didn't do against the Florida Panthers, if that makes any sense. Like, I just think that they were controlled. And that's not to say that the Oilers are a bad team or that they don't have the goods to ultimately win, because I think in some ways, and a lot of teams fall victim to this thought process, as the Oilers have lost to the Stanley Cup champion 4 seasons in a row now, is that, oh, we're so close, we, run it back, let's go, same thing. I think they do need to make changes. I think there are definite flaws to this team. And I think the biggest one that was highlighted yet again was the disparity in net. Like Sergei Bobrovsky was phenomenal. He had a .914 save percentage and led the entire postseason in minutes. Saves, all 16 wins required for the second year in a row. No matter what, the best case scenario that you could cook up would be that Stuart Skinner and Cal Pickard split the wins. And that's if they won. So it's not to say that only one guy can get it done, but you need better than what you've had. And I think that's one. I think the Oilers probably need a bit more speed. And the tough part in assessing both of those things for the Oil is that how are you going to do it? It's not so much the next Bouchard deal or the increased pay that kicks in to Leon Draisaitl or what you're going to have to pay Connor McDavid moving forward. To me, the issue is the Darnell Nurse 9.25 that you have on your cap. If he's playing second pair minutes and is essentially your fourth defenseman with a contract that's buyout proof and really a difficult one to move, how are you going to upgrade your goaltending if you want to? You're committing $50 million to 4 players basically next season and beyond. How? Like, you're going to have to cut elsewhere. And so I think the Oilers have arrived at a bit of a crossroads here. And the other thing that they're going to be battling, and I don't think this playoff says anything about Connor McDavid's legacy. I saw all the tweets about, oh, he's moving on to Toronto or pick another place. He just wants to win. They've proven it 2 years in a row now. Where else are you going to have a better chance to do it than in Edmonton? Another team that has won 6 of the total 16 games required? How does that make any sense? Riddle me that, Batman. So I don't see it. And what I would say is, look, a couple things. Michael Jordan didn't win his first title till 28 and he won 6. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes the right mix. Alex Ovechkin took him a really long time to win his first. And once you win one, you get some of the stink off and that conversation dies down and goes away. But on the other hand, the Oilers, they're not at this level yet. And I hate to do this to the other team that you love, but the Buffalo Bills got to 4 straight Super Bowls and didn't win one. And there's really no team in any of the major 4 pro sports history that I went through in the third period of last night's game that has gotten to back-to-back finals and then ultimately got over the hump. So they've got their work cut out for them.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Seravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.